All right, so good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Um, wanted to make a video here. It's like, man, this shirt's driving me crazy. Um, wanted to make a video here about the Super Bowl. So, made a couple of videos previously. One on the one against after the Chiefs beat the Browns, and one after the Chiefs beat the Titans. Not the Titans, the Bills in the AFC Championship game. Beat the Titans last year in the AFC Championship game. Um, that Bills game, I did 10 simulations on in Madden 21. And I know, like I said in that video, Madden 21 is not um it's not some official simulation thing. It's a video game. It tries to get close. Well, I updated the rosters today and I made sure the depth charts were as realistic as possible. Some things you just can't change. Like I know the Chiefs use a combination of three running backs quite a bit. They'll use Edwards-Helaire, they'll use Bell, and they'll use Darrell Williams. Well, when you do simulations in Madden, they'll use two backs. They never use the third back. So, I mean, so things like that get a little unrealistic. But again, it's it's as good as you can do, for something like this. So, um, again, when I did the Bills thing, I did 10 simulations. The Chiefs won 9 of the 10 games, and it wasn't most of the games weren't really close. There were a couple close games. The final scores were closer than the games than they really were. And so when I did this one, um, now the Bills in Madden, the Chiefs are rated as an 88 and the Bills are rated as an 87. And the Buccaneers and Chiefs are both rated as an 88. And the Chiefs obviously get a lot of that comes from their offense, their skilled position players. Um, and their offensive line is not that highly rated in the game, especially with Eric Fisher. Now, Fisher's not rated very high in the game regardless. Now, Mitchell Schwartz is, but of course, Mitchell Schwartz hasn't played since the Chiefs lost to Oakland in Week 5. So, or maybe it was week 6. He hasn't played since October. So I want to get that out of the way here real quick. This is driving me crazy with this narrative surrounding this game about how the Chiefs are missing their two starting tackles. Well, I guess if you look at where the Chiefs started the year, all the way back in the end of August, early September, yeah, I guess that is true. But the Chiefs have been without they've been without Mitchell Schwartz for their last 12 games, 12, 13 games, including the playoffs. I'm they Schwartz didn't play against Tampa last time, so they're down one offensive lineman since they played Tampa the last time. Yeah, they're missing Eric Fisher, number one overall draft pick in 2013. Fisher is rated by Pro Football Focus as a very average offensive lineman and fairly low grades as far as left tackle goes. Now, he's still the starter, which means that his backups aren't as good as him, which means they're even worse. So I'm not saying that the Chiefs are better because of it, but if anybody can overcome missing someone on the offensive line, it's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs run more sprint out plays than any team I've ever seen. And they move Mahomes around in the pocket, they move him around behind the line, and they get him in positions to throw the ball, and they get him in, so he has different lanes to throw it. And I'm not I'm not gonna say it's not concerning, okay? But it's not something I'm not gonna lose sleep over it regardless, but it's not something that I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. I think the Chiefs are still gonna win the game. So let's talk about these simulations, and I'll probably make another video talking about, breaking down the matchups, but I wanna talk about these simulations first. But I don't want the video to get overly long. So instead of doing 10, I did 10 at first, and I thought, let me do some more. So I did 13 more. So I did 23 total simulations. And to save time, the first 10, I captured all this offensive stats for all the players. The last 13, I just captured the final score and I wrote down the flow of the game and I captured the quarterback stats. I decided not to capture all of the running backs and wide receiver stats for games 11 through 23. Um, Mainly because it just wasn't that interesting. So, um, all right, so here we go. So one of the things I noticed, so I'm gonna scroll down here. I'm looking at my Excel log. Let's get this. Let me move the. I wish I could figure out a way to put this on the screen, but I'm not that talented of a YouTuber yet. Um, okay, so I'm not gonna. I guess I could go through all 23 games. So the first game, the Chiefs won 38-24. So same score as the AFC Championship game. Um, in this game, the Chiefs led at the led at half. They were down to start the fourth quarter. They scored 25 unanswered points in the fourth quarter, or in the third quarter, in third and fourth quarters, to go up 38-17. And Tampa Bay got a touchdown in the final on their final drive to make it. It's just a garbage time touchdown to make it a little closer. So that game went very similar to the real life game against the Buffalo Bills. The next game, the Chiefs won by 11, 35-24. Chiefs led all of the way. They led at the half by a touchdown. They had started the fourth quarter with a 4-point lead, and they got two touchdowns in the fourth. They go up 35-17. And Tampa, again, another garbage time touchdown, and the Chiefs won by 11, 35-24. The third game, the Chiefs won. Why is it doing this? I don't want it to go over like that. There we go. Oh, it's probably because I'm clicking the arrow. Okay. In the third game, the Chiefs won 34-28. So I labeled this game an instant classic. Chiefs led 14-10 at the half. They both started slow in the first quarter. Um, Chiefs were up 21-10. Tampa scored on three straight possessions, including getting a 2-point conversion. They've got 18 unanswered. They went up 28-21. The Chiefs tied it with under a minute to go. Well, about a minute and a half to go. Tampa could not break the tie, and then the Chiefs won in overtime on an 11-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Mahomes to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 34-28. Um, what is it doing here? There we go. Okay. Game number 4. Chiefs won, or I'm sorry, the Chiefs lose this. This is the first game the Chiefs lost. Buccaneers won 31-24. The Chiefs actually led 24-3 at halftime. But Tampa Bay, they pitched a shutout in the second half, and they scored 28 unanswered points in the second half. So kind of similar to the Atlanta Falcons and New England Patriots game from several years ago. So the Chiefs getting shut out in the second half, unless you're getting lots of turn. Now, here's the interesting on that game. The note I made here: the Chiefs did not turn the ball over. They just kept punting. They just couldn't get first downs and just kept punting the ball, which is a little unrealistic to me. But again, it's a video game. This game number 5 is probably the most unrealistic result that I saw on all these simulations. Well, there's another one down further. Is similar. The Chiefs won 16-9. Um, Neither quarterback threw a touchdown, which I thought was just incredible. You want to talk about a prop bet? Tampa Bay led 9-3 at halftime. The Chiefs scored 13 points in the second half, and Brady did Brady didn't score at all in the second half. Again, in this game there was only one turnover. Brady threw one interception. There were no fumbles. It was a very weird game. I mean, 16-9. I guess that could happen. So the Chiefs did win that game. Game number 6, Chiefs won 34-24. Again, not a particularly interesting game. The Chiefs were up 31-10 to start the fourth quarter. Tampa scores 2 touchdowns in the final 3 minutes to cut the lead to 10. That was sandwiched in between a field goal, but they couldn't score again as the Chiefs they ran out the clock. Game number 7. So this game was really interesting. This is one of those games where it snowballed against the Chiefs. the Chiefs never had the lead in this game, so but they got close. They Tampa led 14-10 at half, and 21-18 at the start of the fourth quarter. The Chiefs had the ball and they threw an interception. Mahomes threw 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter, all of them on his side of the field, and Tampa had a short field and um, they scored 18 points in the final on those drives. They got a one of them they went for two, and they got a 2-point conversion. So the final score was it's kind of a weird final score, 39-18. Tampa Bay beats the Chiefs, so a 21-point win. So a 3 touchdown victory. So that was so I'll just little preview here. That is the largest victory that Tampa Bay had, a 21-point win. So it was a little closer than the final score indicated, but still, Tampa dominated the second half. Game number 8, Chiefs win by 3, 38-35. It was a back and forth game. Tampa led by 4 at halftime, 21-17. The Chiefs took a 24-21 lead to start the fourth. The Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns to go up by 17, and Tampa immediately responded with 2 more touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Lots of scoring in the fourth quarter, but they could not get the ball back. Um, it's hard to tell on the simulations if they tried an onside kick or not, but the Chiefs did get the ball and ran the clock out. Um, game number Game number 9, the Buccaneers won this game 30-27. The Buccaneers led 27-3 in the second half, but the Chiefs had a furious comeback to tie the game with 3 touchdowns and a field goal. But then they left about a minute or so on the clock, and Tom Brady went down and got a game-winning field goal drive, and the Buccaneers won at the end of regulation, 30-27. Game number 10 was a blowout. It was really one of the first blowouts for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been winning a lot of these games, but a lot of them have been somewhat close. At least the final scores have been closer. This one was not particularly close. The Chiefs won 44-21. Chiefs led 31-14 at the half, and in the fourth quarter, the Chiefs led 44-14. Buccaneers got a garbage time touchdown late in the fourth. Game number 11, Kansas City won this game 27-14. Buccaneers led 14-6 at half, 14-13 to start the fourth quarter. Then the Chiefs scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to kind of open the game up. This was another game that was a little closer than the final score would indicate, similar to the Super Bowl from last year. Game number 12, Chiefs won 28-27, so a 1-point win for the Chiefs. Chiefs led 21-17 at the half. No scoring in the third quarter, but the Bucks took a 10-point lead, or Bucks scored 10 points in the fourth to take a 27-21 lead, and then Patrick Mahomes led a drive with about 2.5 minutes to go to take the lead, a touchdown drive, and the defense held on. Actually, twice. They held on twice. They stopped the Bucks, and then the Chiefs couldn't run the clock out, and then they stopped them again. Game number 13 was a very exciting game, back and forth from start to finish. Chiefs win 33-31. They led 20-17 at the halftime. Buccaneers took a lead in the second half at 31-27, but the Chiefs had 2 field goal drives in the fourth quarter to go up 33-31, and the defense held on at the end. Game number 14, Tampa Bay led this entire game. The Chiefs never led, and Tampa won 37-34. They were up 37-17 in the fourth quarter. Chiefs got 17 points in relatively fast fashion to pull within 3, but then the Chiefs could not get the ball back, and Tampa ran the clock out. Game number 15. Here's another blowout win for the Chiefs. Chiefs win 38-10. So this one was interesting. Tampa scored a field goal on the first drive of the game, and then the Chiefs scored 38 unanswered points to go up 38-3. And Tampa got a touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it 10 points, or to go up to trail by 18 or 28. I'm sorry. But yeah, 38-10 victory for the Chiefs. Next game was about the same. Chiefs won 35-13. Chiefs led 28-0 at halftime and coasted to an easy win. Game number 17, Tampa wins 24-21. Nothing really interesting there. That one was interesting in that Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdowns or 2 interceptions in the fourth quarter. So the Chiefs had their chances to win that game, but turnovers derailed them. Game number 18, the Chiefs win 17-3. This one, there were 9 turnovers in the game. Um, Tom Brady was intercepted 5 times. Patrick Mahomes was intercepted 3 times. Chiefs could only get 17 points in the game, but again, Tampa turned the ball over so many times that that there was just they just didn't score at all. Both defenses played really well in this game, but the Chiefs won 17-3. Game numbers 19, Chiefs win 31-28. Close, competitive, back and forth. Chiefs led 17-14 at the half. Tampa led 28-20 to start the fourth. And Mahomes tied the game with a minute to go. And then the Chiefs won in overtime on a field goal by Harrison Butker. Game number 20. So this game number 20. So little story on this one. This game played out almost exactly like the Mizzou Oklahoma State bowl game from several years ago. Um, so if you know what that game is, you'll immediately know the sequence that's going to happen here at the end. It was a back and forth contest, lots of offense. Um, the Chiefs scored a touchdown, 38 to go up 38-30. They were down 34-31 in the fourth. Patrick Mahomes leads a touchdown drive, 2 minutes or so, around the 2-minute warning. Of course, in Madden, the 2-minute warning that there's a lot of time left in Madden when you get to the 2-minute warning, especially if you do simulations. So Chiefs lead 38-34. And then Tampa gets the ball. Brady drives all the way down the field. They're on the 14-yard line. And I think it was second down. I slowed the game down a little bit here so I could see the plays. I think it was second down though. And they could get a first down by getting to like the 7 or something to that effect. Anyway, so it was second down, and Brady throws a pick six, and so the Chiefs return it for a touchdown. With about there was like 17 seconds left in the game when the Chiefs scored, and Tampa didn't do anything with it. So it was very similar to the Mizzou game from, I think it was it 2013? I think it was 2013 or 2014, one of those 2 years. Or two, or yeah, yeah, one of those. I think it was 2013, um, where the Chiefs just they or the Tigers. It didn't look like they were going to stop Oklahoma State. They were going to probably go down and get a game winning, but they had to get a touchdown to win the game. But they were driving, and there was a strip sack, and I think it was Michael Sam or Coney Ely. Ran it back for a touchdown, and the Tigers won by 11. Similar thing here. So Chiefs win by 11 in this one, 45-34. Obviously, much closer than that final score would indicate. Game number 21, the Chiefs win 38-34. The Chiefs led 21-20 at halftime. They were up 38-20 at the start of the fourth quarter. And Tampa Bay scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth, but couldn't get the ball back as the Chiefs ran the clock out. Game number 22, Tampa wins 30-28. So again, this one was very similar to that game earlier we talked about where the Chiefs didn't score in the second half. Same thing. Chiefs lead 28-0 at halftime. I thought it was going to be just another cruise victory. But they led 6 scoring drives in the second half, 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals, and the Chiefs turned it over 4 times. There were 4 there were 4 interceptions. I didn't check the fumbles, but there were 4. Patrick Mahomes threw 4 interceptions in that game. And then the final game, Chiefs win 37-24. Tampa actually led at halftime 17-10, but the Chiefs dominated in the third quarter. They scored 4 touchdowns in the third quarter, but they missed an extra point. What's with Harrison? I guess it's pretty accurate. Harrison Butker missing extra points. And this one also featured a punt return for a touchdown by McCole Hardman. So let me So there was 23 there. So let me count up that. Hold on, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 17 out of 23, so that's 6 loss. So the Chiefs won 17 times and lost 6. So what is that? That is 17 divided by 23. So the Chiefs won 7 out of every 10. That's a 74%. 74% of the time they win the game. Now, so the ESPN models, or not the ESPN, it was the CBS Sports line models that it was like the game theory thing that's going on. It says the Chiefs will win 29-28, and it says that they win 52.1% of the time. So is that one more accurate than than the Madden video game? Probably 52% of the time. I think that's a little generous, honestly, to Tampa. Um, and in this one here, the Chiefs win 74% of the time. All the games were most of the games were relatively close. It seemed like the Chiefs won a lot of those kind of those nail biters, but there were some where Tampa just kind of got some late touchdowns as well. Um, the games were closer than they were against than the Chiefs had against the Bills, the simulations that I did. So that would lead me to believe, if I'm to go off these simulation results, that um, the Super Bowl will be a little closer in nature than the AFC Championship game was. And the Chiefs won that game by 2 touchdowns, but really the Chiefs were almost 3 touchdowns better. Anybody watching that game knew that was more than just the final score, 38-24. It wasn't even that close. It was not that close. Buffalo just was not in the game. The Chiefs dominated from start to finish. So the average score here, 31.3 to 24.9. So we'll just round that to a 31-25. So an average of a 6 point margin of victory for the Chiefs in these 23 simulations. What did I learn from this? Well, I kept thinking this whole past week and a half, I kept thinking that this game was going to go similar to the Buffalo Bills game um, in real life. Um, I think the Chiefs are a much better football team, and I'm not gonna. I'll break down some of the stats later. I'll have another video kind of talking about that, um, and really kind of getting into the matchups. But my gut feeling by watching these two teams, and I've watched. I keep saying Buffalo. I've watched the Buccaneers play. I watched them beat Washington. They beat Green Bay. Who'd they beat in the second game? I don't even remember. It doesn't matter. Um, Maybe I didn't watch that game. See, now I'm gonna have to. Here, I got my phone here. Oh, 6% battery. Let's see. NFL. Let's see what the vaunted Tampa Bay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, they didn't win their division. They were wild. Oh, that's right. They were the 5th seed. Schedule. They beat the Saints. Oh, that's right. They won 30-20. That's right. Tom Brady over Drew Brees. So they scored 31, 30, and 31 points. So they're averaging 30 points a game in the playoffs. About what the Chiefs are averaging. Chiefs won 38 plus 21 or 22. So that's 60. The Chiefs are they're averaging about the same amount of points. Okay. So One second. I better plug this in. Do-do-do. It went from 5% to 2% real fast, so time to plug the phone in. Okay, so we're at 25 minutes here. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna make a different video talking about my thoughts on Tampa Bay and what I think they're gonna do. So again, let's just kind of wrap up the simulation talk here. How accurate is the Madden simulation? Um, Probably not as accurate as maybe some more realistic simulations. Um, it's probably maybe take 10% off of it. Maybe it's more around 64% for the Chiefs. I still think the Chiefs win this game on Sunday. Um, According to this, it says that they should win 31-25. So 25 is an interesting number to get to. I don't think they're going to get to that. So let's say 31-24. Is that what I think the Chiefs will win by? Um, I honestly think the Chiefs will win by more than one score. I think that it'll be a two-score win for the Chiefs, similar to last year. I think it'll be a close game, and then I think the Chiefs will score late to kind of open it up. And I think the script is going to be very similar to last year. So anyway, um, that's the video talking about the simulation results. And the video we're going to make right after this is going to be talking about kind of breaking down my take on Tampa. I'm not going to talk so much about the Chiefs in the next video. I'm going to talk more about Tampa and what I think of how they perform so far in the playoffs and what I see from them, what I like, what I don't like. All right. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you later.